and hammers the ball, it just sounds different. She might be the most dominant player in college volleyball when she is healthy, and they are hoping for a healthy version of Catherine the Hammer Plummer tonight.
Thank you, Holly. She has certainly been hammering a lot of numbers so far in the tournament. We'll give you those when time allows. Gates is dug. Stephanie Samity, first opportunity for the maroon-clad Minnesota Golden Gophers. Again, they're the 7th seed coming in, finished tied for second in the Big Ten Conference. Dug by C.C. McGraw. Nice play out of the middle. Lots of long rallies, lots of defense. Dug by McClure, and Madeline Gates has really been a revelation. First team all Pac-12. The 6'3" graduate transfer from UCLA was 11 of 15. No errors against Penn State in the regional final last week.
And what a pickup for Stanford. They would have been in a real bind without her playing the other middle position this season.
Samity softly up into the block. Easy deflection and a swing for Catherine Plummer. Hammering down. Give you Plummer's numbers in the regional semifinals and finals. She had 53 kills, 16 digs, and 9 blocks, and hit for an exceptional percentage. Perfect pass by outside hitter Alexis Hart, who has got a big arm. Number 19 Hart, third team All-American, 6-foot senior out of Kansas City, Missouri. 3 kills per set, hit .268. Very, very explosive indeed. Rachel Kilkelly, 5'9" freshman, on to serve and play defense. Two teams that are going to dig a lot of balls because they are really well positioned. Nice block on the outside by 6'6" Catherine Plummer, senior out of Aliso Viejo, California, with some help out of the middle as well.
And both teams looking for offense from their studs. Plummer on one side, Samity on the other, so they're going to spend more time in the front row. They both started at left front. Good matchup to follow throughout this first set.
There is 3-time Pac-12 setter of the year and 3-time first team All-American Jenna Gray. Nice block on the outside as well. Madeline Gates along with Holly Campbell, 6'6" on the outside for Adriana Fitzmaurice, the 6'6" senior out of Overland Park, Kansas, wearing number 12 in white. Jenna Gray, a very interesting story. She hopes to participate in next summer's Tokyo Olympic Games, but maybe not in volleyball. Adana Rollins up into the block. Nice touch by McClure. Quickly out of the middle. That is a really nice read and attack by number 12 Taylor Morgan, 6-foot redshirt senior out of Blaine, Minnesota. Honorable mention All-American last year. So she wears that heavy knee brace as she heads to the sideline and protective goggles. So she has had to go through an awful lot to get on the court and stay on the court. Here's the libero, C.C. McGraw.
Nice hustle by Pittman.
That ball tucked inside by Fitzmaurice. Adriana Fitzmaurice, 9 kills, 19 attempts against Penn State. Stanford had a little bit of a scare, really had to work hard against a fellow team out of the Pac-12, if you will. The Utah Utes, outstanding team, took Stanford to 5 sets in Palo Alto before the Cardinal advanced. Samity in between the blockers. Morgan Hintz with a great touch, and the legal save by McClure. I'll explain legal in a moment. Morgan Hintz, and snapped down the line, but out of bounds. In college volleyball, you cannot go past the imaginary center line. I know, but after the dig, you'll see McClure. In college volleyball, for player safety, there's an imaginary center line, and you have to play the ball before that. As you well know, Karch, internationally, you can chase the ball just about anywhere you want.
Yep, your body can go past, but you have to catch the ball before it gets to the line. And I was so impressed with Hintz on that dig because the ball deflected off the block, and she stayed balanced enough to make a second move on defense.
Very nice response by Minnesota. They come in with an overall record of 27-5, 17 and 3 in the Big Ten. That stuff block by Reagan Pittman, 6'5", redshirt junior, first team All-American. Samity off the top of the block again. Pittman was right there, but that ball on the block deflection give the kill to Holly Campbell. There's Hugh McCutcheon, now in his 8th year, originally from Christchurch, New Zealand, played college volleyball at BYU, a member of the FIVB, the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. Samity finds a small seam out of the backcourt. And 2 very close friends. They played together at BYU in his 3rd season after many years, including 8 years as the head coach at Illinois. It is Kevin Hambly, 4th straight national semifinal for Stanford, and won his first ever national championship last year over Nebraska. Madeline Gates is dug and just over the sideline. When Kevin Hambly was a sophomore at BYU, Hugh McCutcheon was a senior and took the younger Kevin Hambly under his wing. And they have become very, very good friends and wonderful coaches. Hugh McCutcheon was an assistant coach for the men in 2004, while Kevin Hambly was an assistant coach for the women. They shared an office and spent an awful lot of valuable time together. Important time. Right side. Like the offense, Kylie Miller looks very, very comfortable right now, delivering the ball and the passing from Minnesota. First contact pretty good as the Golden Gophers trail by only 1.
Which is impressive because she spent so much time trying just to get back to where she could play. Remember, she couldn't even attend school for 3 weeks. She had to catch up. That was a good line she had yesterday. You know what? Brains are super important. So I had to kind of wait.
Last time I checked, found out my brain was really important to me. Gates tipping over the top. Alexis Hart, smart shot, skying for the slam dunk. Tied at 7. Let's go over to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, as you said, Kylie Miller missed those 13 games with the concussion protocol, and it took a long time. She would feel better. She'd try to come back and play, and then the symptoms would return. She couldn't even attend class. She said it's been very difficult. She had to catch up all of her classwork, take finals in a very condensed time, and oh yeah, by the way, play volleyball and learn how to connect with her hitters again. She said sleep, calmness, wearing earplugs when she was at matches, and eating the right foods have helped her brain heal.
That's going to be, thank you, Holly. That's going to be 4 contacts called against Stanford. So Minnesota coming right back. There's the timeline. September 27th, missed the next 5 matches, returned for 2 as the symptoms subsided. But as Miller told us yesterday, they kept coming back and had to miss 6 more until she was finally and eventually cleared to play after going through the concussion protocol not once but twice, probably 3 times. Glad to see she is healthy and back in the lineup because indeed brains are important. Megan McClure up off the block and out of bounds. McClure, 6-foot junior out of Rancho Santa Margarita, an honorable mention All-American last year, actually put down championship point against Nebraska last year. Was playing part-time, Karch, the beginning of the season, platooning if you will, but now she's in full-time. Why the change?
Well, first, Catherine Plummer got injured, so they had to play both McClure and the freshman. Nice blocking by both Gray and Gates. They had to play, without Plummer, they had to play McClure back to full-time, and she offers her team so much. She may not be the biggest offensive weapon for them. She's hitting around a little under 240, but she's a good passer, good server, good defender. Doesn't make any crazy errors, so she's a big help. Then when Plummer came back, it made sense for Coach Hambly to just stick with McClure on the court full-time. She's like glue for them.
Minnesota looking for a solid first contact. They want to play with tempo to both pins and to Samity out of the back row, and right now they're scattering the ball around a little bit off the serve from McClure. Perfect pass by Rollins. Life is easier, even with Morgan Hentz playing defense in Hentzville in the left back. Beautiful kill.
And Hentz even told us yesterday, I have to stay disciplined because that's where Alexis Hart's going to hit. But you see, Hentz is cheating in and missed the play because she dove into the middle of the court instead of staying disciplined, just as she told us yesterday she needed to.
What a senior class for the Stanford Cardinal, looking for their third national championship. Morgan Hintz, 3 times the Libero of the Year in the Pac-12, 3 times a first-team All-American. Miscommunication. Samity just having to roll that ball into the court. And Catherine Plummer, when she goes to a roll shot, it's by choice, not out of necessity.
And that's really going to be a key storyline here, is the connection between Kylie Miller, who missed so much of the season as the setter for Minnesota, and her hitters. Clearly not on the same page there. We saw some of that in the first semifinal. Some of the hitters for Baylor having trouble connecting with Hannah Locken.
Catherine Plummer, who early on in her collegiate career was a wonderful beach player as well, just dishing that ball up perfectly, making the first contact. A little bit of a bad pass, so you can set Catherine again and get it back. Stanford with the early lead, set 1. Most wins in NCAA tournament history, most national semifinal appearances, 23rd this year, 8 times the champion, and 4 straight national semifinals, 3rd under Coach Kevin Hambly. And previously, the last championship before Coach Hambly took over was by John Dunning. 8 championships in all, 4 by Don Shaw, 3 by John Dunning, and 1 by Kevin Hambly, who is in his 3rd year in Palo Alto. I know it's early, but Stanford, the better first contact team right now, both defensively and in serve receive. Wow. Who else puts that ball away but Catherine Plummer in the United States at the collegiate level, falling backwards?
Falling backwards is right. She expected a set that was going to go 3 feet off the net. It went 11, and Minnesota probably not so wise to leave her an open net even when she's falling backwards. They got to get at least one blocker in front of her.
There is Jenna Gray again. I mentioned that she might be in the Tokyo Olympic Games. She has finished 4th and 2nd, respectively, in the last couple of NCAA javelin championships. She does have to make the minimum distance to qualify for the Olympic trials coming up in June in Eugene, Oregon, and she said, I've got that distance, no problem. I'll be there, I'll be trying.
She said she's going to have a busy June. Finals, graduation, the NCAA track and field and championships, the Olympic trials, and move out of her apartment at Stanford.
And then maybe a trip to Tokyo. We shall see. Plummer tipping down the line and got a piece of the block. Catherine Plummer already with 5 kills on 7 swings. Minnesota struggling offensively, hitting .038, 6 kills, 26 swings, 5 errors. Plummer and the Cardinal hitting a cool .350 and have the 15-11 advantage. Nice play. Adana Rollins registering the kill off the left side. 6-foot sophomore out of Carrollton, Texas.
Yeah, interesting. Number 3, Holly Campbell. Stanford got a little confused. She was made a late decision to block a middle who was not receiving the ball.
Tough serve. Morgan Hintz, who is a spectacular defender. Everybody knows that, who's been following Stanford in college volleyball, but much better in serve receive, particularly of late. Plummer out of the back row, just unloading. You know, you made a point at Stanford how secretive they were about Plummer's injury, and I congratulate them. They keep secrets better than the CIA. I mean, nobody knew, and nobody would say anything. And when we spoke with Plummer, when we interviewed her the other day in practice, she said, look, I'm 100% now. We're not going backwards. We're not going forwards. I'm 100%. So I wouldn't be out here playing if I wasn't. So wonderful for the game, good for her, and obviously good for Stanford.
And the other thing to keep in mind is she is now done with school. She had her last final last week. So she finishes volleyball this week. She's immediately going to look to turn pro. And so She was smart, and Stanford was smart on her behalf to give her plenty of time to get back to 100% health, knowing that she has a long career laid out ahead of her, far beyond college.
And she's going to turn professional immediately. She's meeting with 4 agents here in Pittsburgh and will make some very important decisions. And another former player of yours, Jordan Thompson out of Cincinnati, has just signed. I mean, she just concluded her eligibility last week. She's on her way to Turkey.
Yeah, when you have special players like that, other teams, maybe they had an injury, maybe they had an opening, but they want to sign somebody and come in at the halfway point of the season. What a nice wrist
what a swing.
Shot.
And Plummer's teammates know how special a talent she is. Just lob something up in the middle.
Yeah.
That's all McClure is trying to do, and let Plummer take care of the rest. Wow.
That is such a tough ball to put to the floor. She's blind to the block, blind to the defense, and still figures out a way. Nice set by Pittman.
The lead is 18-13. That ball's got to come up. Soft shot by Hart up into the block, just trying to restart the point, and her Minnesota teammates let her down, and Hugh McCutcheon, Minnesota head coach, is going to call his second timeout, trailing now 19-13. Let's go to Holly Rowe once again on a very, very special group of athletes at Stanford.
When you think about this Stanford senior class, they came in as freshmen under John Dunning and won a national.
You can't teach brains like
against Penn State.
And they just keep getting stronger as the season's gone on, having gotten that huge piece of their puzzle, Catherine Plummer, back after those 10 matches missed.
And what a job that the Stanford Cardinal did. Not only did Plummer get hurt, but also Kendall Kipp, one of their top freshmen, who was platooning, as you pointed out, along with McClure. She got hurt.
Yeah.
And so they really had to adjust, and they went 9-1 in the Pac-12 conference. No easy task. And again, all credit to Hugh McCutcheon, his staff and players, for what they held together without Miller finishing tied for second in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Coach Hambly said, you know, at that point, they're just trying to figure out how good they can be. They didn't have any aspirations to necessarily win the Pac-12 or go deep into the NCAA tournament. It was just one day at a time. How good can we be?
Catherine Plummer was out from September 29th until November 7th. Missed 10 matches. In the first match she came back, she just played back row and served a couple times. Jenna Gray picks her spots, but a very effective offensive setter. Nice high swing by Alexis Hart. Hart is really dynamic on the outside. Had a chance to see Yassiana Presley. Her season came to an end, but Alexis Hart not far behind with her ability to get up and bang.
We saw her earlier try to tap it into the block and get it back, but her teammates weren't able to help her out with coverage. So that time she decided, I'm just going to terminate, take it into my own hands.
Madeline Gates is just doing a tremendous job. She and Jenna Gray have really found a rhythm here of late. Gates, so far in 4 matches in the tournament, is hitting .596. .596, has yet to commit a hitting error in 4 tournament matches. And that's against some pretty good teams. Yeah, she has been superb. Nice swing off the left side once again. Hart will go to the sideline, replaced by the defensive specialist Kilkelly. Still time for Minnesota. This would be a big ask, 21-16. Pretty good first contact by Formico. Ripped down the line. Nice dig by Miller. Perfect pass right on top of the net. Aren't you trying to get that ball 50-50 when your setter's in the front court?
You want to pass it pretty close when you have somebody as athletic as Jenna Gray, and so she can be a part of the offense. But what stood out to me in that rally, Paul, was even when a team digs Plummer, the ball goes 40 feet off the net, and so that team is losing in the rally, and all they can do is send back an easy one, and then Stanford can run the offense.
Samity is stuffed by Plummer on the outside. Remember, last weekend in 8 sets, Catherine Plummer had 9 stuffed blocks. Let's follow up on Samity. Stephanie Samity You heard what Courtney and Salima had to say in one of their true falses. Stephanie Samity would have to have a big match right now. 1 for 11. The season's been a struggle for her with the changing setters.
Yeah, and hitting minus right now, even though Plummer is hitting over 700.
Samity looking over the top of the block and finds the deep cross-court corner. Stephanie Samity, once again, an All-American this year on the second team. But last year, Karch, Samity hit .284. Takes a lot of tough swings out of the opposite. This year, hitting 50 points lower. Here's the libero McGraw. Chance for Minnesota to get back into the set, but also get some momentum moving on to the second in this match. Another block, Catherine Plummer again. Karch, that is, count this, 8 stuff blocks for Stanford in the opening set.
And Plummer at force at the net, blocking on the right side or the left.
Plummer with 5 of those blocks, 8 for 11, 3 digs, and 5 blocks. Set point. Reagan Pittman crossbody able to put that ball away. Stanford is hitting .406, Minnesota .053. Set point number 2. Here is Samity. Perfect pass. Oh, good block by Pittman. Number 21, first team All-American. Out of Spring Hill, Kansas. That was a really good read one-on-one. Third set point. McClure trying to go high, hands, and does. Megan McClure, number 4 in white, putting a period on that opening set, but all the exclamation points go to Catherine Plummer. She told us a couple of days ago, look, I am 100%, and if the opening set, Karch, is any evidence, she certainly is, and maybe more. 8 kills, 3 digs, 5 blocks, all Stanford to take the opener, 25-19.
One step to the future, step to the future.
Back with Karch Kirai, I'm Paul Sunderland. You know Hugh well. You worked for him as an assistant coach. You know his philosophy. You know his style. What would he have said to his team during that timeout?
Well, they've talked about it, and we heard when he spoke with Holly, but they just need to play go-for volleyball, and they were not doing that in the first set, not controlling the serves of Stanford very well, not having good connections between setter and hitters. It's understandable because they didn't get to play with their setter all season long, being out for that period of weeks and weeks. So they got really good at the adversity part, but now they've got to clean up the connections.
Opening serve, second set. There is McClure. Stanford comes in with a record of 28-4. Dug out of the net. And for more specifics on that conversation, let's go over to Holly Rowe.
Well, I tried to just listen in to Hugh McCutcheon during that last time out. And one of the things he talked to his team about was speeding up their offense. That is something that Minnesota's been great at this year, running a very fast set, very fast offense, to not allow this big Stanford block to have time to get set up. We'll see if they can speed it up. Looked like they did on that last possession.
Thank you, Holly. Trying to do that, but they're only 40% on good or perfect passes, and hard to play fast at that percentage. Swing over the top, dug by Pittman, nicely kept alive by Hart. Boy, Catherine Plummer is doing a wonderful job, but you know who else is? Jenna Gray. Jenna Gray is really running a beautiful offense.
Yeah, and they don't look like they're having any trouble with their connection. Of course, it helps that they have played together for 4 years. You and I were there 3 years ago when we saw Jenna Gray take over this team, and they switched the next weekend. They went to a one-setter offense, and we were both thinking, oh boy, watch out NCAA. Nobody's going to like that draw.
And they went on to win the championship. This senior class of Gray, Hentz, Plummer, Fitzmaurice, they are 119-16 with 2 NCAA championships and all those conference titles as well. Nice dig by McGraw down the line. Little confusion. Samity wanted to stay back and get set.
And they've had only one loss in their postseason careers in the NCAA in four NCAA tournaments, even though this one's not done.
That was to Florida. Plummer again. And she's roofed. And Minnesota is celebrating that with good reason. Taylor Morgan along with Stephanie Samity.
And the ball makes a different sound when Plummer really gets a good swing on it. So that's another reason to celebrate, is it's just fun to block a cannon shot like that back down to an opponent's floor.
Really good move by number 12 in maroon, Taylor Morgan, the 6-foot redshirt senior out of Blaine, Minnesota. Back to Plummer. Chance in transition. Samity, smart shot up into the block. Hart dug by Hentz. Samity over the top. There's a net violation. Morgan Hentz was all over that off-speed shot. And a good response by Minnesota, Karch, as they go up 4-1.
Really good response, but you got to be careful trying to hit anything soft or a tip shot over the block at Morgan Hentz. She probably picks those up better than anybody in the country.
Probably?
All right.
Probably? Nice play by McGraw. And tried to keep that ball alive and missed it out of bounds. Number 7 wearing the libero jersey, stretching out to make the initial defensive play.
Yeah, and a nice play by McGraw. I love how she laid that out. We call that a pancake. When you put your hand flat, the ball bounces off of it. You rarely see Hentz have to make those plays, though. She's so fast and reads so well that she doesn't have to resort to the emergency move of a pancake. Instead, often takes it with 2 arms.
Hart again, who's been the best attacker. Beautiful swing by number 19. Alexis Hart has 8 kills on 14 swings. The rest of the Golden Gophers only have 6 kills combined.
And what a great swing. You're never going to go wrong if you're a young player learning what to do as a left side hitter. You're never going to go wrong taking that high, hard swing to the corner.
Plummer, nice roll shot off speed. Very nicely done by number 2 in white. Plummer now in double figures with 10 kills.
And she's going to the service line, and that's one of the things she said got better during the course of her injury, is she could do some serving work. So she feels like that's one of the parts one of the only parts she could get better at during that rehab period.
Beautiful first contact, and Taylor Morgan has got such a quick arm. She, by today's standards, a little bit of she's a lot undersized in the middle at only 6 feet, but makes up for it with speed.
Speed and mega hops.
Well, Holly Rowe told us that Hugh McCutcheon, in talking to his Golden Gophers in between sets, told them they wanted to speed things up. That was a perfect pass and an example of that. McClure. Free ball coming to the Cardinal.
Nice up.
Kilkelly with a dig into the cross court, and that ball tucked down the line. What a smart swing by Adana Rollins. 6-foot sophomore out of Texas, honorable mention All-American last year. Getting some recognition as well this season.
What a nice adjustment. She overran the ball. The set drifted off the net a little, but she saw there was no defense deep down the line.
7-3 now to Minnesota. Stanford passing pretty well. Fitzmaurice being dug into the cross court. And Stephanie Samity, smart thumbs down shot off the edge of the block. If you're Stanford, do you call a timeout here, Karch?
They
lost their footing a little bit, and Minnesota unable to take advantage, but still leading 8-4 early in this second set over Stanford. Won the opening set 25-19. Here's Hentz. Samity, nice snap over the top, but missed it long. Hugh McCutcheon and members of his coaching staff immediately got up, and there evidence that the ball contacted the block. So the point on the board for Stanford was Minnesota getting out to a quick 7-3 lead. Stanford called a timeout, and now are responding with Morgan Hentz at the line. And that ball is served out of bounds, hence one of the great defenders in college volleyball history. As a matter of fact, she has set the new record, surpassing Gabby Ailes at Stanford for all-time number of digs and also digs per set. There was a long time when Hentz said that she wasn't interested in playing volleyball beyond college. That has changed. Nice pass. Rollins, boy, Minnesota does want to play faster. That was not, you run a go, that was a go-go.
That was really fast, and it didn't quite get out there, but Rollins made a nice adjustment, and it just drove it into the inside hand of the blocker, Madeline Gates.
Rollins, just a sophomore, has had another good season in the Big Ten.
Good serve. This would be a scoring opportunity for Minnesota.
It is indeed. Kilkelly right on target. Nice read by Jenna Gray.
And hence, two people were there for that. Great volleyball IQ.
Jenna Gray, we've already seen a couple of very effective tips, but watch the read coming out of the right back.
Yeah, in the backcourt, you see two people ready and waiting for the setter, Minnesota's Kylie Miller, to attack on that second touch. A better choice for her at that point would have been to set one of her hitters.
Samity mistimed out of the backcourt. Megan McClure high off the hands and out of bounds, and here comes Stanford. Won the opening set by a very, very comfortable margin. Catherine Plummer had 8 kills, 5 blocks, and 3 digs to lead the way. Here's Kate Formico, who has really come on, developed a well-rounded, important defensive specialist and serving sub. Nice dig by Hentz. Perfect control to the 3-meter line. Plummer through the block and down. Perfect transition volleyball.
Hentz made that look so easy. Samity took her hardest swing, and Hentz was just ready to yawn a little, put it in the perfect spot. Easy transition play. You have to make her work harder than that. Can't hit right in Hentz's lap.
Trouble for Minnesota. Really good dig, right on target, going to Rollins again. Hentz is there and missed it out of bounds. That transition hitting, of course, first ball contact is, I don't want to say everything, but Stanford has 16 kills to end rallies and are hitting .538. That's just a crazy number. And on the other side, only 8 kills, .067 for Minnesota.
And again, transition hitting is any hit other than the one you're about to see. This would be first ball hitting. That is pass, set, swing. Now you have a transition swing. And that is where Stanford is dominating. They're hitting better in transition than they are off the first serve-receive play.
Catherine Plummer now with 12 kills on 18 swings. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, you see her ready to take a shot, and she could have hit either way. There was only one blocker in front of her. When you're a back row hitter, you have even more space to hit at because you're farther away from the blocker.
Nice job by Pittman muscling that ball up into the block.
You're right, really nice. Oh, rare digging error by Hentz.
But then Hentz comes in and saves the day, getting right underneath Pittman. Oh, what a block. Madeline Gates getting her master's in statistics. What a history indeed. Now with 8, more than anybody else in all of college volleyball. Second, of course, is Penn State.
And the star of that Stanford team now crushing it in medical school, and of course a great USA player, a gun and a Monty.
Yeah. Out to Plummer, good choice. That ball was a little low. Samity able to get it out of the right back. Oh, that's blocking the set. Jenna Gray is a fantastic athlete. Tell us why that was a violation.
That's a violation because Jenna Gray jumped high enough to contact the ball while it was still completely on her side. Pittman reaches over. You can't touch it unless some part of the ball has broken the plane. The other thing to give props to for Plummer on that last play is even when she was dug, she hit an off-speed shot, but she had 3 people scrambling on the floor, and it left almost no transition offense for Minnesota.
Nice job once again by Alexis Hart, who's leading the way. 9 kills. She's been really solid for Minnesota. 9 on 18. Samity just 4 of 18. Adana Rollins 4 of 13. We'll give you the leaders minus Catherine Plummer in just a moment for Stanford. Here is Pittman. Plummer again off the edge of the block and down. She's got 13 kills. Jenna Gray has 3 kills. McClure has 3 on 9. Adriana Fitzmaurice has been quiet so far. They're digging her a lot in the cross court. 2 of 14. Madeline Gates, 2 of 6. Still no errors for Gates in the entire NCAA tournament. Shank pass. Shank pass by Hart, and now Stanford has recaptured the lead at 13-12 after trailing 7-3 to open this second set.
Yeah, you called it earlier, wise timeout by Stanford when Minnesota jumped out to that early lead. Lots of times in college volleyball matches, the coaches like to wait and save that timeout. They wait for the media timeout when one score gets to 15. But in that case, really good decision by Hamley to slow it down.
And Alexis Hart again. Boy, if I'm Kylie Miller, I am feeding Alexis Hart, number 19. That ended a 5-1 run for Stanford. Tied at 13, second set. Stanford up 1-0. Wisconsin, the number 4 seed, has beaten the Baylor Bears, the overall number 1 seed, 3-1. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Guys, you were talking about that crucial timeout where Kevin Hamley called his timeout early in this second set. And what was interesting about it is he really left most of that time up to the players. They controlled most of that timeout themselves. It was Morgan Hentz. It was Jenna Gray. They were all talking amongst each other, getting each other straight. Coach knew that they needed to get on the same page. He had very brief comments for them at the end of that. He knew his team very well.
Kevin Hamley now in his 3rd year. Go ahead, please, Coach.
Oh, no, I was going to say they played a brutal pre-conference schedule, 9 ranked opponents, and he talked about how much they learned about themselves, learned they just can't rely on one player, Catherine Plummer, and they can't expect to block and defend well just by showing up. They learned that in their loss to Minnesota.
Quickly to the outside. Hart didn't get really good wood on that. Plummer going off speed. Nice hustle by the Golden Gophers.
Plummer gets a free ball back for her team.
And then eventually gets a kill. Boy, she is really a high IQ, talented athlete volleyball player.
There are some swings, we would call them zeros. You take the swing and the other team defends it and plays on it. Her zeros are almost kills because it gets a free ball back very often for her team instead of leaving her team as the one losing in the rally.
As you pointed out, repeatedly getting Stanford ahead in the point. To Plummer again. No, right side to Fitzmaurice. Dug by McGraw down the line. That ball dug high into the night here at the arena. Rip into the cross court. That's the way to control the heat by McGraw, but then missed by Rollins. 17-13.
That's another one of those Plummer zeros that's almost, it's like 3.
Good thinking.
Yeah, really good thinking, but Plummer said, you know, it gave her an extra role when she wasn't active, recovering from that undisclosed injury.
Here is Gray coming out of the timeout. And Hugh McCutcheon has changed his lineup. Aire Miyabe is on the floor now, wearing number 8 in maroon. Up into the block, nicely done by Taylor Morgan once again. So Miyabe out of Osaka, Japan, and a transfer from Southern Idaho Community College has come on the floor now.
Yep, struggling to get production from their normal opposite. Stephanie Samity hitting just a little over 0, trying to get some few more kills from Miyabe.
Morgan Hentz was all over that. Giving Stanford an opportunity. Miyabe looking for a touch and gets it there down the line for her first kill. So far in the match, Stanford hitting 299, Minnesota 107.
And Miyabe played a big role when they were waiting for Kylie Miller to come back, because then they were playing with 2 setters and 2 opposites. Changed Samity's role quite a bit.
Right side, Miyabe again finds a small seam in the block. So Hugh McCutcheon going to his bench and making a very, very positive substitution. Miyabe coming on and immediately getting a couple points on the board. Timeout called by Stanford. Yeah, you mentioned it, Card. She played
her approach and then explode into a set that's not often going to have two solid blockers in front of her because it is so fast, gives the opponent so little time.
Minnesota really had to work awfully hard and undergo a lot of stress. A serve down the line by Kilkelly. Remember back to the regional in Austin, Texas, Creighton had 2 match points and in Minnesota, Creighton had 2 match points and a couple of swings, and then Florida also went to 5 sets before Minnesota was able to take out Louisville in straight sets and advance to the national semifinals.
Yeah, exactly right. Creighton had Minnesota down 24-22, up 2 sets to 1, and Minnesota survived that scare. Survived another scare against Florida, then looking really solid against Louisville to earn the right to play in the national semis.
Louisville, of course, pulling off the biggest upset of the tournament, that was taking out the second-seeded Texas Longhorns.
And Coach McCutcheon said, you know, we had to face the reality of being eliminated, but they held strong, and this group's got a ton of trust, especially with all they went through, not knowing from day to day who was going to set, who was going to play some of the other positions.
Right in the deep cross-court corner, and what a perfect reception by Catherine Plummer. Catherine Plummer doing it all. Remember the opening set, 8 kills, 3 digs, 5 blocks. Just continuing at that pace. Mayabe, here Fitzmaurice on the slide. Nice dig by Kilkelly. Good contact by Plummer. And missed out of bounds. A rare miscue by Plummer. Catherine Plummer, the play before, Karch, put an awfully good move on that ball to pass it accurately to get in system for Stanford.
She sure did, and that's what we would call a perfect pass. The setter barely has to move, so you get a good first contact, good second contact, and McClure gets the easy kill.
Speaking of that, Stanford passing perfect or good at 56%, only 41 for Minnesota. Rollins off speed. McClure tipping over the top. Nice location. Megan McClure was given an academic award at a dinner last night, and it's some, you know, for all 90 NCAA championships, the athlete with the best GPA, 3.956 at Stanford.
At Stanford. Wow.
Our Holly Rowe was there to MC that particular banquet, so congratulations to Megan McClure. He has really had a positive impact on this Stanford program out of Rancho Santa Margarita, made honorable mention All-American last year. Here's Rollins. Oh, a little bit unlucky. CeCe McGraw was there, but another typical McClure swing. She very rarely puts the ball away without it hitting the block sometimes. The block can be your best friend.
And that's what's so maddening sometimes, is you feel like you have her lined up and hits it off. She hits it off your fingers out of bounds, but oh, what a great up by Hentz.
Perfect dig. Ball set a little bit tight, pushed off the block into the antenna and out of bounds. Very, very smart play by 6'6" Plummer. What a dig by Hentz.
And this is one of the things that Coach Hambly said that Stanford had to get better at. Without Plummer, they had to get better with their defense and their transition offense. And in this match, they're hitting a crazy number offensively, over 400 in transition. Here's another transition swing. That one jumps off the net cord and out of bounds.
Morgan Hentz once again gives her team chances that other teams just don't get. This is already 15 digs for Morgan Hentz.
And for most defenders, they would have had to put a hand on the floor and pancake that ball. But Hentz is so fast and reads the game, sees it better. She can get both arms on that.
I don't need no stinking spatula.
No maple syrup.
Here is Reagan Pittman. Very easy serve and handled by Formico. Taylor Morgan and dug by McClure.
Interesting, Minnesota has no setter, so Pittman is the setter. Nice choice by her to take that first ball.
Reagan Pittman put down a very rare assist in the column for the middle blocker. And now Kylie Miller will come back on.
Yeah, Minnesota doing some different things. They're having Samity play in the backcourt, but in that last rally, Samity, the opposite, was playing in left back. Pittman was playing in right back and being the backup setter as they tried to upgrade their block.
Hart going off speed. Plummer up into the block, restart the point. Stanford looking to get to set point, not yet. Plummer again through the block and down. 16 kills for Catherine Plummer, and it is 24-21. And remember, to start this second set, Minnesota came out very strongly. They led it 7-3. Here is Sydney Wilson, 6-foot junior out of Toronto. And a break for Minnesota. 24-21. Kylie Miller, the transfer from UCLA, will go back to the line. Missed 13 matches throughout the course of the season from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Good pass. And look at that. Jenna Gray with her 4th kill on 5 swings. And Stanford leads it 2-0, looking to get to yet another national championship match. It would be their 17th. Stanford wins the opening set 25-19 and then comes from behind early to take the second 25-22. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach, you had a very dominant first set, but that second set, Minnesota jumped out to an 8-3 lead. You called a very timely timeout. How did your team regroup from there?
More than just Alexis Hart as they go into a must-win set 3, Paul and Karch.
Well, Courtney and Salima, you're exactly right. Just handed some interesting numbers. Outside of Alexis Hart, who's hitting 400, the rest of her teammates are hitting 0. So, okay, Kylie Miller, she's got to find a way to get Reagan Pittman going and the rest of these Golden Gophers to give Alexis Hart some support. Otherwise, Stanford might roll this 3-0.
And that's why Coach McCutcheon tried the change of bringing Miabe in, looking for a little more offense from the front row opposite position. But they've got to get Pittman going. She's had a fantastic season, first team All-American. There are definitely some weapons available. It's just that the only one who's been found any success is Hart. And that's why they're starting her in left front this set.
There is Miabe. We'll see what happens to begin this third set. Stanford up 2-0. Madeline Gates with a nice off speed out of the middle. And Stephanie Samity is blocked, kept alive. Plummer, first swing of the third, off speed over the top of the block. And our Holly Rowe caught up with head coach Hugh McCutcheon after the second set.
Coach, it seemed like you went to a little more tempo in that second set with some success. How can you keep that up?
Well, we got to pass. You know, we're not winning the serve-receive battle, and that's costing us. So their out of system's better than our out of system right now, and that's the difference. So, you know, if we can get first contact going a little bit, then we'll see what happens from there.
I know it's hard to do mentally, but how do you get your kids passing better in the middle of a championship moment?
Well, you just got to get back to the fundamentals and try to simplify. You know, it can get complicated here in a hurry. So just taking a breath and doing the things you need to do to make a good contact, see where it goes from there.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yep, cheers.
Well, Coach McCutcheon absolutely right. Catherine Plummer and Stanford, 23 kills in transition, hitting 375. On the other side, Minnesota, 10 transition kills, 0-23, and combine that with better passing by Stanford, and thus you have their 2-0 lead.
Yep, Stanford almost 60% good passing percentage. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, 45%. That's a big difference.
Here is Jenna Gray, who has been absolutely superb so far. 3-time setter of the year in the Pac-12, 3-time first-team All-American. Here is Samity. We talked about it. Stephanie Samity is a wonderful player, no doubt. second team All-American this year, but her numbers in terms of efficiency down by 50 full points. That's hard to understand, other than the change and the uncertainty at the setting position all season long.
Yep,
nice pass by Plummer.
She was playing with 3 different setters, and it's just hard to have the same rhythm. It's like trying to be a great receiver in football, but you're playing with 3 different quarterbacks.
Alexis Hart misses that one wide, and a quick start here for the Stanford Cardinal. Stanford playing in their 23rd national semifinal. They are 15-7 previously, 8-time champions. So 8-7 in championship matches all time. See Kevin Hamley, they're holding that iPad in his hand. He's got up to the second stats being provided to him in all the pertinent categories: passing, attacking, serving, etc. Alexis Hart again, dug by Hentz. Morgan Hentz had 15 digs through 2 sets, and adding to that total, Catherine Plummer blocked nicely out of the backcourt by Minnesota. 9 blocks for Stanford and now 4 for Minnesota. 8 of those 9 blocks, Carts, coming in the opening set. Wow, what a block party that was for Stanford. Another good pass by Plummer. Down the line by Fitzmaurice, starting to find some range and some room rather than cross court. Adriana Fitzmaurice, 6'6" senior out of Kansas. Now 3 kills on 20 swings.
Earlier we saw a rocket by Plummer down the line. That time it was Fitzmaurice. All the Stanford hitters hitting with lots of range. Lots of hitters are very patterned cross court 80% of the time.
Down the line again. Good adjustment by number 12 in white. She hits, you look at her numbers, Fitzmaurice is hitting .312 on the year, takes a lot of difficult swings out of the opposite, but really can be an intimidating blocker, almost 1 per set. Both of these teams just a couple of hundreds apart in the top 10 in terms of blocking. Top 10 nationally. Rollins going off speed. Liftoff. Hentz is flying all over the place. Samity, that was a rip. That was Stephanie Samity, number 10 in maroon, absolutely crushed into the cross court. And you mentioned, Karch, you watched a very impressive performance by Minnesota against Penn State, and Samity came up with 21 kills and helped key that performance.
Yeah, Penn State could not find an answer. She was taking really assertive swings. We've seen her do that the last 2 or 3 plays, much more aggressive than she was earlier in the match.
How impressed are you with Catherine Plummer's first contact? She has passed the last 4 or 5 balls perfectly.
Very impressed, and the Minnesota team is no slouch when it comes to serving. Certainly, historically, one of the best serving teams in the Big Ten, always causing lots of trouble.
Samity again, nice swing. Could easily hear the touch off the top of the block that time off Gates or McClure. We'll update you on Samity's numbers now, 7 of 24. But very, very good here in the third. Must-win set situation for Minnesota. McClure, smart choice. A rare missed set ball by Jenna Gray, and smart shot, smart selection by McClure.
And give number 11, Kate Formico, credit. She's really improved her defense and her passing this season, and one of those solid back row players for Stanford.
And everybody says Formico much improved. Nice touch by Plummer. Transition swing through the block and down. 20 kills now for Catherine Plummer, and Stanford out to the 9-5 lead. Timeout called by Minnesota. Catherine Plummer is 100%, and that means trouble for anybody across the net. Her championship match on Saturday evening on ESPN2. Wisconsin, very impressive over a really good team from Baylor. Rollins looking to go over the top of the block and missed it out of bounds. Stanford and Minnesota, Karch, have played a lot through the years. This is the 11th meeting all time, and the Cardinal have dominated the series, winning 9 out of the previous 10. But the one win for Minnesota was earlier this year. That was in a tournament at Penn State. Combination play, Samity out of the backcourt, and must have been a good shot because Morgan Hentz couldn't get there.
Yeah, and even that one, she didn't resort to a pancake. She still got one hand completely under the ball.
Morgan Hentz now credited with 16 digs. McClure doing a good job as well with 11. Stanford as a team has 42 defensive plays, Minnesota 38.
Perfect pass by McClure.
Good block touch on the outside by Hart. Look at Hentz digging that tough chance right to the 3-meter line, and more transition opportunities for Plummer.
More transition opportunities for Plummer thanks to those great touches by Hentz. And do you see how this comes up high enough and not close to the net? So it's easy for Jenna Gray to come down as a setter off the block and run that play. Stanford now in those transition plays, hitting 377, probably now with that kill, around 400 in transition. That's the thing, part of the thing that Hambly said they got better at without Plummer. They had to get better at defense and transition.
What a smart shot by Catherine Plummer. Not in rhythm with Jenna Gray, and just softly up into the block, and sometimes you get a good bounce.
Call that a low-calorie kill, and some of those are smart. Save your energy, save your shoulder, tap it off the block. You don't, they're all worth the same. Doesn't matter whether they break a hole in the floor or you tap it softly. They still are worth it 1 point.
Alexis Hart hitting 312 kills on 30 swings. Samity starting to join the party. Not a lot of offense so far from Reagan Pittman, and you hear Hugh McCutcheon tell Holly that they just were not passing the ball well enough to really get their middles involved. Taylor Morgan and particularly Reagan Pittman.
Yeah, they're getting they're losing that serving battle quite a bit. And Jenna Gray, smart, using her right hand that time, but Stanford passing good. That is something they can run their offense off of 62% of the time. Nice up by Hentz, keeping it off the net.
Making it look easy by getting in the right spot early. Hard again, dug by Hentz. Plummer, a slam dink through the block and down. She might have been anticipating a throw. She certainly threw it, but look at that.
Another low-calorie kill, saving her shoulder. But I didn't finish the thought. Minnesota passing well under 45%. That is a legal play in volleyball, that slam dunk. They've let that go a lot more in the last few years, letting the hitters get away with using that open hand contact.
Hart to Hentz. It's like pitcher to catcher. And Hart is a classy attacker. Down the line again, dug by Samity. Good block. There was lots of air under that. Kevin Hambly is not happy that that ball wasn't covered. That was a smart shot again by Plummer.
Yeah, really smart shot, because if her teammates stay ready, they can make another play, run another offensive set on that.
Back out to Plummer, through the block, nice dig by Rollins. Oh, good set. Down the line, CeCe McGraw saying, if you can do it, Hentz, I can as well.
What a nice set by Rollins in the backcourt. One of the rare times where Minnesota's winning in the rally.
Over the top, beautiful soft shot that time by Samity. Away from Hentz as well as Adriana Fitzmaurice.
You're right. Samity, instead of tipping down the line over the wing blocker, she put it more into the middle of the court. Smart, away from Hentz.
Plenty of time for Minnesota. Again, they're facing a must-win situation here in the third set. Good overhand pass. And then that ball out of bounds down the line by Fitzmaurice. Kevin Hambly looked like he was thinking about it. Minnesota creeping back in here a little bit. Good serve. Over the top again, Alexis Hart. Nice play defensively, but is down, and that ball off the block, but out of bounds. Off of Holly Campbell, the middle blocker wearing number 3. One more play. Yep, Kevin Hambly of Stanford going to be forced to call a timeout. The lead is shrinking. He quickly got out. His Cardinal got out to the 9-5 advantage, and now are still holding on to a 14-11 advantage. Morgan Hentz again.
Her team in Kentucky, but she didn't play a ton of libero, and so now here she's come to college and really started to refine that position. I think the thing that's the biggest standout for Morgan Hentz, though, is how she gets to every single ball. Her hustle, her want to. We dubbed that part of the court Hentzville last year because she covers an area code, it seems like. We said it was population 1, but her family would like to be included. They have lobbied. So I am going to be the mayor and up that population of Hentzville to 6. And then Jenna Gray would also like to be included because they're roommates. So population Hentzville is up to 7 this season.
All right, 7. She is a remarkable defender, and I mean that's what creates the headlines and the excitement that has really become a solid first contact receiver. Coming out of the timeout, here is Miller trying to continue the run for Minnesota. Plummer right side up into the block, nicely done by Hart along with Taylor Morgan. So Minnesota right back in this third set.
And you see how Hentz just flies around. She's talked about wearing elbow pads, all these pads, hydrating, ice bath, contrast bath, rolling out. She's got to take care of her body. It takes a real pounding with all the defensive effort she puts out. That's one of the things Coach Hambly talked about he's going to miss most is her incredible work ethic.
And an example right there. Here's Fitzmaurice. Tough swing down the line and puts it through. Yeah, Kevin Hambly told us when we spoke to him the other day, she just, whether it's a defensive drill where she has no block in front of her, she just gives 100% on every play and has for 4 years.
And you can see it on these plays here, but for some other players, you would not see that in the practice gym. You see that exact level of effort, and they did from day one. That's when the senior, Inky Ajanaku, said, whoa, we've got to pick up our energy level because we got somebody raising it to a new standard.
Jenna Gray, a beautiful delivery to Plummer, adding to her total. Now with 24 kills. Remember in the regional round last week, Karch, she was 53 kills on just under 100 swings, 16 digs, 9 blocks.
That's a really high termination percentage, over 50%. Very hard to do unless you got some serious heat. And now she also wins the point off her serve, which she said she improved during her time away.
Timeout is called by Johnson, as you mentioned, lost the first set, then won 25-21, 25-17, 25-19 to advance to their third ever championship match. Nice dig down the line. McClure again has been really solid. Jenna Gray can't get to that off-speed shot. Rollins registers the kill off the left side. 17-13. Still lots of time for Minnesota. But I think they need a couple breaks. They need a couple of aces. They need to stuff a couple of balls.
Minnesota always a strong serving team, but Stanford has withstood. And there's another perfect pass, probably to the wrong passer. That serve went to Hentz.
Samade dug by Gray. Hentz has got all kinds of room. And Catherine Plummer going for the radical angle from about 15 feet off the net and missed it.
A little thing that I like Hentz did as she ran over by us to make that set. Before she even contacted the ball, she was yelling out, "Plum, Plum." She was letting her team know who she was setting, who should get ready to hit.
That was a tough chance and a risky maneuver. Maybe one of those breaks for Minnesota. Right side. Adriana Fitzmaurice, who was showing a lot of heat this morning in practice. Gates comes back on. Minnesota's done a very good job of defending number 12. Fitzmaurice now with 6 kills, 27 swings to get there.
And Fitzmaurice was huge for them. They were down 14-11 in a regular season match at home against Utah. She puts the ball away, gets a couple of blocks, and they steal a win away. One of those matches they won without Catherine Plummer.
Here is the libero, C.C. McGraw. Stanford leading 18-15, but most importantly up 2-0. Overpass, and maybe that'll get Reagan Pittman going. She is an interesting person. We talked to her, had a wonderful interview with Reagan Pittman, and one of her hobbies is axe throwing or teaching axe throwing. She put the axe down on this.
Loves knitting, sewing, doing makeup, and training dogs.
And throwing axes. That's the one I liked. Chance here for Samity. High flat dug by Plummer. McClure, that was a really good swing. Yep. Stanford ahead in the point, thanks to McClure. Fitzmaurice again, high up off the block and out of bounds. 19-16. Kate Formico will come on. Formico's cousin, none other than Carrie Walsh, on hand tonight. Three-time Olympic gold medalist. And a bronze as well. And the voice of our opening tees. Nice swing. Stephanie Samity once again now with 12 kills. On the match, Minnesota, Karch hitting 147, Stanford 308.
Yep, if they can get some tough serving, and look, their first team All-American middle, Reagan Pittman, only 8 attempts. So if they could get a defensive player or two up in the air, they could set her on her bread and butter, the slide attack.
Nice pass by Formico. Good dig by McGraw. Plummer on the D out of the back row. Pittman is able to keep that ball alive. Back to Gates. Madeline Gates again. Remember, 11 of 15 against Penn State in the regional finals, and has yet to commit a hitting error in this, her 5th match so far of the tournament. We'll give you her total numbers in just a second, but coming into this match, she was hitting just under 600. Gates on the night is hitting 400, 4 of 10. And again, to emphasize, still no errors on 62 swings. That is remarkable. Off the edge of the block and out of bounds, and they move Pittman. Nice move to the right side. Quickly over to Holly Rowe.
Madeline Gates was an unexpected surprise for Stanford when UCLA coach Michael Seeley called Kevin Hamley and said, "Hey, I just heard one of my players might be transferring to you." And Kevin said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." She had gone ahead and applied to their business school on her own, put her name into the transfer portal, and they were like, "Wait, what? We might have an opportunity to get her." They ended up contacting her, and she said, "Yes, I do want to play volleyball." Her primary interest was statistics at Stanford, but she said she would come and help them on the volleyball team as well, and here she is on her way possibly to a championship match.
And also, there were no scholarships available. She is a walk-on. She was a second-team All-American last year, transferred, and now paying her own way to Stanford.
Had a cool $85,000 or so for a Stanford year at grad school.
Stuff block out of the middle. Holly Campbell. Jenna Gray there as well, and now the lead is 22-18. What a solid performance so far for the Cardinal. Looking to get into yet another championship match. It would be their 16th all-time. There's Kevin Hamley looking to go back-to-back. Won his first ever. Spent 8 years as the head coach previously, as an assistant, 15 years total at Illinois before coming to Palo Alto. Here is Reagan Pittman. The transition attacking, and look at the perfect pass and good pass. 64-39. Minnesota, they build their program on first contact, both serving and passing, and Stanford has been so superior in that regard. Look at Hent stretching out again. Plummer! Nice dig in the backcourt. Rollins hanging in. That ball off the block and out of bounds, and you don't ever want to short Stanford. I said 16th. It's going to be their 17th championship match. 2 points away. Here is Gray, who has been absolutely superb, and all credit to her passers. Taylor Morgan, a rare contact out of the middle. Pittman and Morgan have been very, very quiet so far on the night. Taylor Morgan, that is just 3 of 13 out of the middle for the senior. 23-20. Good pass again. Plummer has been solid in receive, and that ball off the block and out of bounds. And now match points, an opportunity to get to their 17th championship match for the Stanford Cardinal. The number 3 seed overall, Minnesota was the number 7 seed. Match point. That ball served into the top of the tape. We have seen some miracles, and Minnesota would need one right now. Plummer is available out of the back row. Fitzmaurice along with Campbell up front. And Jenna Gray there as well. Watch for Gray. She's been really effective on the tip. 5 kills on 7 attempts, Karch. McClure, good block touch. Minnesota has to have it. Samity through the block and down. 1 match point saved. Certainty, and they still finish tied for second in the Big Ten Conference. Match point number 2 for the Cardinal. Easy serve. Catherine Plummer on the end line, and Stanford is moving on. For the 4th straight year, Hugh McCutcheon is going to challenge. This is a very smart move.